Welcome to The Unfinished Path. I'm Devon Thrasher, and I'm so glad you could join us as we continue to explore the curves and the twists of life. I hope you enjoy the video. Work-life balance. What does that really mean? If you asked a dozen people, you might get a dozen answers. But my take on it is this: none of us are all of one thing. For instance, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I am a business owner. I have a lot of things going on. I'm very involved in our church. And balance is a weird word and a strange concept in this context, because in my opinion, if you try to be balanced, quote unquote, and you try to put everything on an even playing field, and so you're never going to be overextended in one area or another. Everything's going to have equal or appropriate amounts of your time. What I have seen, and my personal belief, is that all that really leads to is you being mediocre at best at everything. And I don't see that as a goal. Who wants to be like, I'm an all right dad. My wife tolerates me. Like, but I'm balanced. And people who promote that idea of a work-life balance would never state it that way. But I think that ends up being the end result a lot of times. The truth of the matter is, we all go through different stages and seasons in life. And sometimes I might be out of balance. Matter of fact, I would say basically all of the time, I am out of balance in some area in my life. I don't think that's altogether bad. In fact, I think it can be very good. There are times when our church has some big event or something going on, and for that stage in my life, the other areas are out of balance because I'm putting a lot of energy into what's going on there. Or there's times when, well, this past week, I had a lot of things I had to do in terms of work, and so for about the last week, maybe a touch more, I've been up and out of the house before sunup, and I've come home after dark, 8, 9 p.m. And that's okay. I've got things that needed to be done, and I've went and got them done. But here's where I think work-life balance comes back in. Anything like that, if you do it for too long, you will create problems. You have to be aware and cognizant of the fact that you are out of balance and take steps to correct it from time to time. So for instance, this week, I have worked, like I said, a bunch of hours this past week. And I've not spent as much time with my family as either I or they would prefer, and as much as I believe is needed and necessary. In other words, I have been out of balance. I'm not stressed out by that. I'm not worried by that. And it's not because I don't think it's important to spend time with my family, but because this work was done with the knowledge and understanding of my family, and I know, and they know, that in the next few days and weeks, I will make a point to spend more time with them. And it will be on purpose, quality time. It'll be time when I shut the phone off and set it aside, and we do stuff together. Another thing that has been out of balance is my fitness. And working pre-dawn to post-dark. I didn't run it all last week. I hated it. I missed it. But I tried to get in, even knowing I'm not being out of balance, a little bit of time with my kids. So, and that, we could do another discussion there about priorities and what's most important. But when it comes to fitness, I knew that it was short term. And all right, let's get back to it. I had very specific goals at work that I needed to hit and achieve. And in hitting them, it freed me back up to say, all right, let's recalibrate. And that brings me to another point, which is wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be present. Be present. If you're at home or you're somewhere and you're spending time with a family, but you can't get off your phone and you can't put work aside, or you're thinking about whatever other responsibilities you have that are, or at least may be, legitimate, you're not present. That's not quality time. To the same token, if you're at work and you need to be getting stuff done and you're thinking about, man, I need to spend time with my family, you're not being present. You're not having the level of quality production that you should at work because you're not completely focused on the task at hand. And so in this concept of work-life balance, in my opinion, it is much less about adjusting your time to be equally proportioned across all the different things that you do, but being aware of where you are at this particular stage in life, taking note of it, and making plans to say, okay, this is where we are right now, this is what needs to be done, and these are the adjustments that I'm going to make so that this doesn't turn into a way of life and we become very unbalanced and I lose things that are important to me because I was not able to make corrections and adjustments along the way. The Bible talks about a man who gets his ox in the ditch, and you have to do whatever is necessary to get the ox out of the ditch. There's times when things at work become necessary. There's times when other responsibilities demand an unequal proportion of your time, effort, and energy. Now, we could talk about when those things are just eating up your time and they're not actually creating any kind of value. They're not important. They're time wasters. We'll save that for a different conversation. But there's times in life when your proverbial ox gets in a ditch and you just have to stop everything and take care of business. You just have to take care of whatever's going on. That's fine, but be aware of where you're at. Be aware that in that moment and that stage and season of life, maybe a family illness or something like that, that hey, I'm unbalanced right now. And have a discussion with the people that's important to you. Look, this is what's going on. Just want you to be aware. I want you to be aware that I'm aware and that it won't last forever. I'm going to make the necessary adjustments and we're going to fix this. So in summary, work-life balance is not about getting to this point where everything is equally spaced out and you use the same amount of time, effort, and energy in every area. That's not possible unless you want to be either mediocre or just doing everything equally terribly. It's not a good plan in my opinion. I don't think anybody can run at 100% in every area of life all the time. But you have to be aware of what stage in life that you're at each given point in time and be willing to make adjustments. It's okay when the ox gets in the ditch, take care of business, stop everything and get the ox out. However, if you have a troublesome ox and he always goes and gets in the same stupid ditch, might be time to shoot the ox. Peace.